In the year 2254, humans do not engage in killing due to the interstellar treaty known as Pax Humana, which is universally acknowledged as law. A perplexing event at the mining colony on Zeta 5 poses a threat to disrupt centuries of peace. As tensions rise, a diverse team composed of Earth's top diplomats, alongside an eclectic group of alien allies, embarks on a dangerous journey to unveil the truth. They must navigate a labyrinth of interstellar politics, ancient grudges, and a clandestine conspiracy that endangers the delicate peace. This mission challenges the foundational principles of Pax Humana, compelling them to address the question of what truly defines humanity in a cosmos filled with life. Commander Elias Santos, an experienced diplomat from the Earth Federation, is selected to spearhead the mission to Zeta 5. Accompanying her is Dr. Ran, a gifted yet eccentric xenanthropologist. Upon their arrival at Zeta 5, they meet Cart, a towering insectoid diplomat from the Thran Empire, a former formidable adversary of Earth. Despite their contentious past, Cart and Elias share a mutual respect stemming from a prior mission that almost led to war between their civilizations. Joining Cart is Neil, a perceptive and enigmatic Solarian healer renowned for their empathic abilities. As they penetrate deeper into the heart of the mining colony, they discover it deserted, with the eerie quiet masking the turmoil that ensued. The sole hint at the past disturbance is an enigmatic message, signaling deeper secrets to be uncovered. The starship pondering the gravity of their findings. The message scrawled on the wall, "They are not what they seem," hinted at a deeper enigma as the team discovered that both the colony's human workers and their alien counterparts had vanished without a trace, leaving behind a labyrinth of unanswered questions. The investigation took a sinister turn upon the discovery of a hidden lab previously unknown to the Federation. Inside, they found experiments that blurred the lines between human and alien biology, a blatant violation of the most sacred tenets of Pax Humana. This revelation sent shockwaves through the team as they grappled with the implications of such experiments. As they delved deeper, they were thrust into a web of intrigue involving shadowy figures within the Federation and a radical alien faction opposed to Pax Humana. With each discovery, the team began to realize that the incident on Zeta 5 was just the tip of an iceberg, a conspiracy that could ignite a galactic conflict. Commander Santos had to navigate this treacherous landscape, balancing the fragile alliance with her alien counterparts while unraveling the conspiracy. As loyalties were tested and the line between friend and foe blurred, the team had to confront the uncomfortable truth that the greatest threat to peace might come from within their own ranks, and the definition of humanity itself was at stake in a universe where the only rule is, "We don't kill humans." Leaning against the cold metal wall of the Starward, Elias Santos reflected on the precarious path ahead. It had weathered. The asteroids, like silent guardians of the cosmos, drifted lazily through space around them. In the cockpit, the tension was palpable, hanging heavy in the cramped space. Beside Elias, Dr. Ren fidgeted with his datapad, his fingers dancing over the screen. His usual chatter about alien cultures and histories was absent today, replaced by a contemplative silence. Court stood stoically at the rear of the cockpit, his compound eyes reflecting the starlight, while Neil, her blue skin almost luminescent in the dim light, hummed a soft melody in ancient Solarian tune meant to calm nerves. The comms unit crackled to life, breaking the silence. "Starward bound, this is Eclipse. Do you copy?" The voice was distorted, modulated to mask any identifying features. Elias straightened up, her hand instinctively going to the blaster at her side. "We read you, Eclipse. We're approaching the rendezvous point." The asteroid field seemed to close in around them as they navigated through the maze of rock and ice. Elias' eyes darted between the viewport and the ship's sensors, wary of any signs of an ambush. The tension grew with each passing minute until they finally arrived at the coordinates provided by Eclipse. A small, unassuming ship, barely more than a speck against the vastness of space, awaited them. Its hull was scarred and pitted, a testament to its age and the battles it had endured. As they docked, Elias led her team through the airlock, her blaster drawn. The interior of Eclipse's ship was dimly lit, the walls lined with screens and equipment. Eclipse stood in the shadows, a cloak obscuring their features. "The conspiracy you seek," Eclipse's voice was a low whisper, "involves more than just the disappearance of the miners on Zeta 5. It's about control, about creating beings who are neither human nor alien, but weapons." Its hull was scarred and pitted, a testament to its age and the battles it had endured. As they docked, Aaliyah led her team through the airlock, her blaster drawn. The interior of Eclipse's ship was dimly lit, the walls lined with screens and equipment. Eclipse stood in the shadows, a cloak obscuring their features. The conspiracy you seek. Eclipse's voice was a low whisper, involves more than just the disappearance of the miners on Zeta 5. It's about control, about creating beings who are neither human nor alien, but weapons. Aaliyah's mind raced. The implications were horrifying. "Do you have proof?" she asked. Eclipse moved out of the shadows, a silhouette against the dim lighting of the ship. In their hand was a data pad, its screen glowing with a soft blue light. Aaliyah stepped forward, her hand reaching out to take the device. The weight of it felt significant, like holding a fragment of a darker future. "Eclipse, how did you get this?" Aaliyah asked, her voice slow. Eclipse's voice was a hushed whisper. "Let's just say not everyone within the corporation agrees with what's happening. But be careful, Commander. This isn't just about illegal experiments or corporate greed. It's a web that's entangled with the very core of the Federation. There are powerful people who would go to extreme lengths to keep this quiet." The datapad contained a trove of information, locations of secret facilities, names of key players in the conspiracy, details of the experiments being conducted. Off the damp concrete, it was a mix of technical schematics, encrypted communications, and disturbing images of half-human, half-alien hybrids. The depth of the conspiracy was staggering, a chilling revelation of how far some were willing to go in the pursuit of power. The journey back to Earth was a tense and hurried blur. The starward bound hummed quietly through space, but inside the atmosphere was thick with urgency. Dr. Wren was absorbed in the data, his eyes flickering across the screen with a mixture of fascination and horror. He murmured to himself, piecing together the sinister puzzle. The horror was not just in the unethical nature of the experiments, but in the realization of how much scientific potential was twisted for such dark purposes. Court, ever the warrior, was already preparing for what he saw as the inevitable confrontation. His large frame moved with a purpose around the ship, checking and rechecking their armaments, his mandibles clicking in what seemed like a mix of anticipation and anger. He understood the stakes. This was no longer just a mission, it was a war they were walking into. The underbelly of Earth's megacity, New Beijing, was a labyrinth of shadows and neon lights. Tall buildings loomed like silent giants, their windows flickering with the lives of millions. Aaliyah Santos and her team moved cautiously through the narrow alleyways, their footsteps echoing off the damp concrete. As they assessed the situation, the air was thick with the smells of street food and the hum of hover cars overhead. This part of the city was a melting pot of cultures and species, a place where information flowed as freely as the black market goods. Their contact had promised crucial information on the bioengineered soldiers, a meeting set in a dimly lit bar known for its discretion. But as they approached, Aaliyah felt a prickling at the back of her neck, an instinct honed by years in the field. Something wasn't right. Suddenly, the night erupted into chaos. Blasts of fire lit up the alleyway, the bright beams cutting through the neon haze. Corporate security forces clad in high-tech armor emerged from the shadows, their weapons trained on Aaliyah and her team. Court, towering and imposing, reacted instantly. His powerful limbs moved with surprising speed for his size, swatting away attackers with the force of a wrecking ball. Aaliyah Santos and her team moved cautiously through the narrow alleyways, their footsteps echoing off the damp concrete. As they assessed the situation, the air was thick with the smells of street food and the hum of hover cars overhead. This part of the city was a melting pot of cultures and species, a place where information flowed as freely as the black market goods. Their contact had promised crucial information on the bioengineered soldiers, a meeting set in a dimly lit bar known for its discretion. But as they approached, Aaliyah felt a prickling at the back of her neck, an instinct honed by years in the field. His exoskeleton, a natural armor, deflected incoming blaster shots, creating a protective barrier around the team. Dr. Wren, typically reserved and lost in his academic world, surprised everyone. His fingers flew over the portable hacking device he always carried, tapping into the city's grid. He manipulated the environment to their advantage. Streetlights flickered and died, plunging sections of the alleyway into darkness. A nearby advertising hologram malfunctioned, creating a distracting strobe effect. Security drones, initially a threat, were turned against their controllers, adding a layer of confusion to the ambush. Aaliyah, with her military training and quick reflexes, coordinated their defense. Blaster in hand, she moved with precision, each shot calculated. Neil, usually the calm and collected healer, revealed her combat training, her own blaster a steady presence in the chaos. The skirmish was intense and fast. Aliyah and her team worked with a synchronicity born of trust and shared battles. Eventually, the attackers retreated, disappearing into the maze of New Beijing as quickly as they had appeared. In the aftermath, the team took a moment to catch their breath. They tended to minor injuries, the adrenaline slowly ebbing away. Their determination was as palpable as the gravity of their situation. They were up against a force that had infiltrated not just corporations but possibly the government itself. Trust became a luxury they could no longer afford. Their mission's climbing stakes took them to Mars, to a remote research facility nestled in the rust-colored valleys of the planet. The facility was a fortress surrounded by high walls and guarded by a battalion of bioengineered soldiers. The remote research facility on Mars stood like a fortress, its walls towering and imposing against the stark, rust-colored landscape. The team's approach was cautious yet determined, aware that every step forward was a step into the lion's den. The facility's defenses were formidable, a combination of high-tech security systems and bioengineered soldiers patrolling the perimeter. He jammed communication signals, disabled security cameras, and manipulated the facility's automated defenses. His fingers flew across the device with practiced ease, a maestro conductor of an unseen orchestra. Neil's role was subtler, but no less crucial. Her quick thinking and keen observation skills identified patterns in the enemy's movements, finding opportunities in their seemingly impenetrable defense. She communicated these to Aliyah in hushed tones, her voice a steady presence amidst the chaos. Aliyah, the tactician, synthesized their efforts into a cohesive strategy. She directed their movements, called out targets, and provided covering fire. Her mind worked through scenarios and contingencies, adapting their plan in real time to the evolving situation. As they breached the facility's inner sanctum, the culmination of their coordinated assault was about to unfold. They were met with the mastermind of the operation, a high-ranking Federation official whose ideals had twisted into something dark and tyrannical. His presence was imposing, his voice carrying a chilling certainty. He spoke of a new order, a future where the galaxy was controlled through strength and discipline. His words echoed through the cold metal halls, a vision of a future where freedom was sacrificed for a misguided sense of security. The confrontation was charged with tension, a standoff not just of weapons but of ideologies. Aliyah and her team, battle-weary but resolute, faced the official, their weapons trained on him. It was Neil who shifted the balance. Her empathic abilities, so often used to heal and understand, became a tool to unravel the enemy's plans. She reached out with her mind, touching the consciousness of the bioengineered soldiers. She felt their confusion, their programmed loyalty warring with a nascent self-awareness. Her presence in their minds was like a gentle whisper, nudging them towards realization. Simultaneously, Dr. Ren executed his masterstroke. With a final flurry of keystrokes, he infiltrated the facility's central AI. His actions, combined with Neil's empathic influence, created a moment of chaos among the soldiers. Their programming disrupted, they turned on their creators, their movements now guided by a newfound sense of self. In that moment, the tide turned. The official, realizing his plan had unraveled, made a desperate move to salvage the situation, but it was too late. The combined efforts of Aliyah's team had dismantled his scheme, bringing an end to his vision of a controlled galaxy. As the team made their escape, the facility imploded in a spectacular display of light and sound, a fiery end to a place of darkness. Watching from a safe distance, Aliyah knew this was only the beginning. The data they had gathered hinted at a network far more extensive than they had imagined. Eradicating this threat would be a mission spanning years, maybe even decades. Back aboard the Starward Bound, the team gathered. They were tired, wounded, but resolute. The galaxy was vast, full of unknown dangers and hidden threats, but they were ready. Guided by the principles of Pax Humana, they would continue their fight for peace and freedom.